Okay. Continuing to admit all. We have lots of people coming in here. This is great. I'll give another couple of minutes just to let people join. Okay, just another couple of minutes and then we can kick off. So I hope you're all sitting comfortably and got your t-shirts at the ready, a cup of tea, a glass of wine, whatever you want to have you relax and enjoy the show. Okay, we'll just kick off now at 7:05 once everyone is in. I'm just going to try making my tech support host here so that I can start, and Niall is able to deal with your tech issues and also unmute people or mute people. Okay, so hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me tonight for this DIY tote bag workshop. It's great to have you all here, especially in such a beautiful evening. So don't worry, I'll make it worth your while. It'll be good fun. So I'm going to start off with a presentation. So I'm going to share my screen now, and then after the presentation, we will make our t-shirts. So I will share my screen. Okay, so Okay, so I'm going to start my presentation. Grand. If there's any issues with this, feel free. Any of my ladies from the start that I was speaking to, feel free to unmute yourself and tell me if there's any issues right now, or Niall, my tech support, and let me know. But I'm just going to go ahead. So thank you so much for coming along tonight. My name is Shifra Caherty, and I am a designer and a maker based here in Belfast. I run the business Jump the Hedges. Within Jump the Hedges, I make bags and do workshops on sustainability. So first of all, I want to say a big thank you to the Department of Agriculture, Environmental and Rural Affairs for funding tonight's event, to Mid and East Antrim Borough Council, Antrim and Newton Abbey Borough Council, Keep Northern Ireland Beautiful and Fashion Forever. Together, they have made this event happen. And I just was saying before we began how excellent it is that this is actually happening. Normally, I'm called down to the corporate companies like Google and Accenture and huge companies with huge budgets that have a social element that want to bring people in to do workshops. So for me, it's very exciting that it's a council that's actually bringing me in. So I'm getting to speak to everybody as opposed to all the tech people, really. So it's very exciting for me to be involved tonight. So a huge thank you from me and from all our sponsors for having you here tonight too. So the way we're going to work tonight is we're going to start off with the sustainability presentation. Then we're going to move on to the DIY tote bag workshop. And then we're going to have a question and answer at the end. So if you have any questions, please hold off until the end and I'll answer them at the end after everything, as I can't see questions that are popping up during the presentation. So just if you have a burning question, just make a wee note of it and I'll get to them at the very end. So just a little bit about me and just my background and how I came to be here giving this presentation to you tonight. So I'm from Armagh originally, just on the border, and I went to the National College of Art and Design for my undergraduate degree. I studied fashion design. After I did that, I moved to live in Westport in County Mayo and worked as an outdoor clothing designer with Port West. That was where I became quite aware of the amount of clothing that was being manufactured and was quite concerned and began becoming more and more interested in sustainable clothing. Sustainable fashion was really not very much talked about at this point. When I was in college, it really was not a topic that we looked at. There were a small amount of sustainable brands such as People Tree, but it wasn't really a topic and it wasn't really something we were aware of. We didn't understand how bad things were, really. Then I moved to San Francisco and I worked with Levi's, and I worked as a pattern cutter with Levi's. So I was very much involved in the technical side of things, and this sort of honed my pattern cutting skills and my making skills. And then after that, I moved to Germany and I worked with Adidas as an outdoor clothing designer. And this was really key for me. This was the catalyst really for me understanding sustainable fashion and sustainable clothing, and how we as consumers can make changes and choices that are beneficial. After Adidas, I moved home to Ireland and moved to the West Coast and worked for a company called Slendertone, and actually worked as a biomedical device designer. And as a side note, I just want people are sometimes slightly concerned about going to art college and they feel like they're being pigeonholed, but my career has been so varied and so open, and I've had so many opportunities, and that was from studying fashion design, which people might consider a narrow subject, but is actually incredibly wide and incredibly important. And in Slendertone, I worked alongside a whole engineering team, and we developed garments for muscle rehabilitation. And, it was very exciting and very different, but it definitely showed me that going to art school isn't a bad thing, as sometimes people think it is. It is a very wonderful thing. and then Jump the Hedges, which is my current business. So that's been my career to date. Now, there's been lots of other jobs in there that I have eliminated for tonight, lots of part-time jobs and lots of things that kept maybe the other jobs going at times. So nothing is ever a clear path, but this has been my key career to date, and this is the things that have really defined me as a designer and got me to where I am. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Adidas first of all, as Adidas really was where I became most interested in sustainable clothing and the capabilities and what actually could happen there. So while I was at Adidas, I designed women's wear and outdoor clothing and kids wear mainly. And we looked at a lot of recycled yarns and recycled fabrics, and the whole concept of circular design became really interesting and exciting to me. The concept of having something that making something and then it becoming something else was very exciting, and just a whole new area really, and was really innovative. And the idea of the as a designer having a key part in this was very exciting. And within Adidas, I got to work as part of the zero waste design team, and we designed new fabrics and new concepts. So we designed, for example, clothing that was more zero waste than other clothing. And by zero waste, I mean clothing that had very limited seams, or clothing that utilized the material way more than normal garments would. And so all these things that we designed went into global production and are still in production today. So this is some of the clothing I designed whilst I worked at Adidas. So when you work for the outdoor clothing team, everything has to be very eco-conscious, and your consumer is very conscious of their environmental impact. So we were very keen to use recycled materials, and to make it very clear that we as the designers were very committed to this.
Shifra, I'm sorry to disturb you there. Could you just check your message there? I just need to turn on the closed captions for those who are hard of hearing.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to pause my share for a moment. Sorry about this, guys. Let me see. Okay, I'm just going to resume sharing and hope that my tech support can sort out the issue with the closed captions.
Yep, that's fine. I'm working on it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so okay, so this is back just to some clothing I designed whilst I work with Adidas. Again, this is all photographed in the Alps, very outdoorsy, very eco, very sustainable. And then let's go back to 2015. So 2015, I moved to Belfast. I started a master's in the Art College in multidisciplinary design. And through that, I developed my business, Jump the Hedges. It was really an incubator unit for the business. And this is where Jump the Hedges began. The name Jump the Hedges comes from the Van Morrison song, Sweet Thing. And the first line of the song, for any Van Morrison fans, as you know, is I will stroll my merry way and jump the hedges first. So it encompasses feeling youthful and vibrant and being able to do anything, jump hedges or whatever you want. So this is some of the bags that I designed for my masters. I designed these bags and used recycled material. I used banner cloth, and it was material that I actually got from Antrim Council. So it's actually really nice tonight that Antrim Council are part of this. And this is, oh, I'm just going to admit somebody. The material came from Antrim Council, and I was able to make a multitude of products, and all the products were around carrying a yoga mat. That was my issue, that I had noticed that it was really difficult to carry a yoga mat. And whilst I'd been living in San Francisco, I noticed that it was very hard to find any sort of product that that carried a yoga mat in an innovative way. And I knocked coffee out of people's hands on numerous occasions carrying my yoga mat awkwardly. So that was my goal within developing and designing this collection, was to create bags that were comfortable and ergonomic and easy to wear. And as I said, it's all banner cloth. So banner cloth is basically, if you look on the side of any building, IKEA or the council or Antrim Forum, where I got the banners from, it's the material that advertises an event. And then fast forward now to 2021. So this is me in my natural habitat, as you can see behind me. It's constantly adding to that pin board. So that was it when it was a little bit less. I make the majority of bags myself. I do have a stitcher, but I do make the majority myself, and I do all the prototyping and the development. And then I did make 100%, but now in the past 6 months, I now make about 60%. This is a mood board I developed for Jump the Hedges, which really kind of sort of showed the energy behind it and the energy of Belfast. I'm very proud that my bags are all manufactured in Belfast. Belfast is such a huge industry such a huge history of manufacturing, and I feel very passionate about continuing to work with my hands and encouraging other young people to work with their hands, because there's such an amount of satisfaction being able to create your own thing, and understanding how to work with different materials and being able to develop something that you've imagined. So now, instead of using the banner cloth, which I found it was quite difficult to use, because it would, if you're trying to maybe turn something inside out, if it was meant to be a bag, it would like crack on the corners. I use truck tarpaulin. So I use the truck tarpaulin, and truck tarpaulin is curtain sides of lorries, really. So in the picture on the left, you'll see a large lorry. So that is what a truck tarpaulin is. And I source them from all over Ireland. I am constantly wheeling and dealing and talking to lorry men, truck drivers, and trying to find the next best tarp, because they're all so beautifully coloured. And after this, you'll never look at a tarp in the same way. You can get some really beautiful ones. And for example, on the right, the image I have is of a stash bag, and stash bag is probably one of my main products, particularly now since lockdown, because everybody's a sea swimmer and people use them for sea swimming, because the material is water resistant. So they're perfect for like throwing your swimming gear into, and very robust. And that's also the problem with this material, is that it has nowhere to go. So when it comes to me, it's at its end of life. It's maybe has holes in it, or maybe just the branding has changed, but it isn't compostable or biodegradable. So it just stays in landfill for hundreds of thousands of years probably. So when it comes to me, I have to work with it in its end state. So maybe parts of it aren't usable, but I work with the parts of it that are usable. So it truly is the most sustainable option. I'm using material that was on its way to the bin. Again, this is my number one product. So this is my fanny bags, and as you can see, there's like nice purple ones there. So when I got the purple tarp, that was a very exciting day, because it's not too often you see a purple truck driving down the road. and I've started to kind of adjust my usage of the tarps, because when I first started doing this, I didn't realize how hard it was to get them, and I just used them in any way I wanted. But now I've got a lot more smart really in how to use them, and I'll only use certain elements. For example, the yellow, as you can see, I have a very small amount of yellow, so I'm only going to use that for wee tiny parts of the bags. So alongside making bags, I do a lot of other things. I do talks like this, and then I also do podcasts. So as you can see on the left is my Dirty Laundry podcast, which is what I did with Tara Stewart from 2FM. So that's still available wherever you get your podcast, Spotify or Apple or whatever, wherever you find podcasts. If you look up Dirty Laundry, that'll come up. And that was a great conversation I had with Tara Stewart, all about sustainable fashion and sustainable fabrics, mainly we spoke about. And then on the right, this is a workshop that I was leading pre-COVID, obviously. We're all very cozy there at the Dublin Culture Night. So on the table, you can see a banner cloth. So I use the banner cloth for my workshops, not the tarpaulin. And we make like little accessories out of those, because I'm offered banner cloth all the time, and that's what I use for my community outreach workshops and for corporate workshops. These are actually beautiful banners that I got from the Belfast Pride Festival, so they're all left over. So I did a workshop my first in-person workshop since before COVID last week with the Ardoyne Youth Club, and we used some of the Pride banners, and they were very excited because they were so beautiful and so coloured, and we made lovely key rings out of them. So this is a sneak peek of what's coming up for Jump the Hedges. This is an image I just literally got last night from a photo shoot that I did on Sunday, and we spent a full day photographing all our new products here. And this is the new bag. I'm just going to let someone in, and I'm kind of going a bit more bespoke and a bit more high end now. I've started to kind of want to develop products that have more work in them and have more interest. And for example, here, this bag is all laser cut. So I've started working with a laser cutter and trying to develop ways to use the fabric a bit better also. And also people kept asking me for bigger bags and big tote bags, and this, I'm just responding to the demand and what I want also. The straps on that bag are made from, the straps in that bag are made from airplane seat belts, and then there's a leather around the handle, and that's from a factory in Dublin that makes chairs. That's waste material from them. So I'm just going to check that we're all muted. Okay, I have you all muted. So sustainability, why we're here and what we're the whole point of this. What is it really? So this is a really good statement, I feel, for sustainability. It's maintaining life on Earth and the ecosystems required to support it. Sustainability has become a bit over talked about in a good way and in a negative way. I think there's been a lot of greenwashing going on by certain brands pretending to be more eco-conscious than they are, and all at the same time pushing you to buy more product because they're saying that to be truly sustainable, you have to buy this organic t-shirt or you have to buy this Cape Cup. And I think that's wrong. You know, sustainability really is actually buying less, but using things better, really. So we talked about the what and now the why. So the reason why we need to talk about sustainability and be more conscious of it is because in the UK alone, 1 million tonne of textile waste is discarded every year. And that's 500 tonne per week in Northern Ireland alone, which is pretty shocking for such a small place. And clothing has the 4th largest environmental impact after housing, transport and food. So we talked about the what, the why, and the how. So now, we're going to look at the how. So this image is from Kantamanto, which is one of the largest markets in West Africa. Kantamanto is a secondhand market. So if you think about bringing your bags of clothes to Oxfam or to wherever you bring your secondhand clothing, obviously all that clothing doesn't get sold, and a lot of it might end up going to Kantamanto, and Kantamanto really is where they resell. But the reason why I'm talking about Kantamanto is because they're so innovative and they're so ingenious in how they work with the materials, and they upcycle and they tailor and they reuse, and they've been doing this for years and years and years. But the problem is now is that they're getting too much stuff, and that is the issue, is that there's just such an overload of clothing going into the secondhand shops that they can't deal with it, and they're getting too much stuff sent to them. They extend the life of 20 to 30 million garments per month, which is just amazing statistics. They wash them, over dye them, tailor them, upcycle them. And the tailoring industry is really thriving in Kantamanto. But the key issue is that they're getting really bad quality garments that can't actually be maybe washed, over dyed, tailored, upcycled. For example, over dyeing, like if something is virgin polyester, like it has to be chemically dyed, and it's just very, very difficult to work with really bad materials. I'm sure if any of you have bought anything that was maybe very cheap, and after you've washed it 2 or 3 times, it literally will start to fall apart. Like Zara released a couple of years ago that a lot of their garments were intended to be washed 5 times, and after that the garment was finished, really. So I think there's even an element now of like wearing things once and getting rid of them. So this is a mindset that really needs to change. Another example of how people are doing sustainability really well is Ahluwalia. So Ahluwalia is a British designer who designs beautiful clothing from dead stock materials. She creates new garments from old materials and from old garments, takes everything apart and remakes it and reuses it. So it's a really amazing example of the key kind of points that the Fashion Forever campaign are pushing, which is reuse, repair and reimagine. So the background of Ahluwalia is, pre-Ahluwalia is of Nigerian and Indian heritage, and she went back to visit her family in Panipat in northern India, which is the recycling capital of the world. The clothes that go to Kantamanto can be upcycled and reused, and something can be done with them, but a lot of the stuff that goes to Panipat is what they would call mutilated. So maybe its zip is broken, maybe it's dirty, just to feel like nothing can be done to it. So it goes here, it's sorted by color, and then it's shredded. And it's woven into yarn, which is then made into shoddy blankets. Shoddy blankets are very heavyweight blankets that are incredibly warm, that are given to homeless people and also sent to disaster zones. But actually, some research I was doing very recently, I just saw that the whole shoddy blanket market is really it's very, very worrisome at the moment, because there is another version of shoddy blanket being made in China, but it's not actually recycled material. It's brand new virgin polyester material, and they're undercutting the price of the shoddy blankets, and they're more lightweight, however, warmer. And so this whole concept now of the mutilated clothing being made into something useful is really it's really nobody really knows what's going to happen, if it's going to continue. So it'll be interesting to see how this evolves over the next couple of years, but currently this is what's happening. Another example of how we can reimagine and reuse is another London female designer, Bethany Williams. And Bethany does, again, really interesting clothing she works a lot with Adidas and different brands, and makes clothing from new clothing from old clothing. And it's a whole social enterprise. She works with different social enterprises to create employment, and also to create awareness around sustainable clothing. I'm just going to show you a little clip.
I'm Bethany Williams. We've sourced vintage blankets all across the UK, and we've created bespoke coats that feature all of the blankets. We only work with organic or recycled materials, and we were really interested in taking these vintage textiles and making them into bespoke one-off pieces. We were inspired around our last collection we did with the Magpie Project, which is a project that supports women and children in temporary accommodation. And we were kind of inspired by the ideas of like comfort. The blanket became kind of a key feature within our last collection. We just thought it was a really special piece, and that's why we've developed it into this capsule for Selfridges.
Okay, and so to conclude the presentation part of tonight, I really love this quote from Celine Seaman. Sustainability is a spectrum, a movement and a culture. It is a way of living and a way of doing business rooted in deep and continuous learning. The key thing in that, I think, is the continuous learning and sort of doing your best. And as I said, trying not to be overwhelmed by this sort of capitalist approach that has evolved where, you know, people are saying to be truly sustainable, you need to do this or that. So when in actual fact, to be sustainable, less is more really is the best way to look at it, I feel. So again, just to thank you, the Department of Agriculture, Environmental and Rural Affairs, Mid and East Antrim and Newton Abbey Councils, Keep Northern Ireland Beautiful and Fashion Forever, who you can all follow on social media, Facebook and Instagram. The Fashion Forever has a really good Instagram account that gives lots of tips for upcycling, reusing and reimagining your clothing, if you want to learn more after tonight. So now DIY tote bag time. So I'm going to stop sharing that. And I am going to just check the chat quickly. And I'm going to make, so if you want to get your t-shirt ready and lay it flat on a surface in front of you. Okay, so I'm just gonna spotlight myself. Spotlight my t-shirt. Okay, so can everyone see my t-shirt? If I could get, yes, I have a yes, great. Okay, so everybody can see my t-shirt, lovely. So I'm going to just step over here, and this is on my other camera. So if everybody wants to get your t-shirt and flatten it on the table so it is nice and even, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut the armholes. Okay, so we don't seem to be able to get the captions working, which I'm really sorry about, but Niall is going to type in the chat what I am saying privately. And if there's someone else that needs the captions, please message through and we can send it to you also, okay? Okay, so we're going to start off by flattening the t-shirt and then we're going to cut the armholes. So just go inside the seam line, like in along here. So you can do, depending on what kind of scissors you have. My scissors are pretty good, but I'm imagining everyone else's scissors aren't good. I'm imagining there's a lot of kitchen scissors have been pulled out of the drawer here. So just go easy and cut in on the inside. So basically you're making a tank top out of your t-shirt is the first step. If you have really good scissors, you can do this. You can nearly fold it in half and do the two at the one time. But as I said, I'm assuming that everyone has really bad scissors. So again, do the other side. Okay, so that is your two sides. If you just want to fold it over and check that you've done them both evenly. So I have done them. I'm feeling very like Tony Hart here. Don't know if anybody remembers Tony Hart, but mine are even-ish. I'm happy enough with them as they are though. So you've basically made a little tank top. So you can lay that out flat. So the next part is to cut the collar off. And I chose this t-shirt in particular because the collar had got like a little bit of makeup on it, as white t-shirts often do. So this is a really good way to use it. So you can either freestyle this if you want, if you're feeling brave, or you can use a bowl or a plate if you have one nearby to help you. So the best way to do it is to fold again in half. So this is going to be your handles, really. This part here is going to be your handles. So I'm going to just go, I don't really want to interfere too much with my type. Kids t-shirts actually really work very well for this. But this is a small adult t-shirt. So I'm going to draw this in with a marker. So I'm sure some of you have a pen. If not, feel free just to go ahead and freestyle this, okay? This is, and I'm going to do it straight at the start. And then I'm going to draw in around. Okay, that looks okay. Any questions? Okay. The bigger this kind of U shape, the better, to be honest. When you're cutting material, keep your hand flat on the material, by the way. That is bad cutting etiquette from me to lift my hand off. Again, you can adjust all these things afterwards. None of this is set in stone. So this is gonna, so you can see it's starting to look like a bag. Can you? We're getting great subtitles here from Niall. Thank you so much. Okay, so the deep U, and then we're going to turn it inside out. So this is how we're going to seal the bag at the bottom. So flatten your t-shirt nice and flat on your workspace or your counter, wherever you're doing it. And get your ruler or a measuring tape, whichever you have handy. And measure across. I think 1 centimeter is a good amount. So if we go 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter, just do 1 centimeter marks the whole way along. And I said, don't be afraid to, like if you have a pen, don't worry about if you only have, like if you don't have a pencil. I'm using a pen. Don't be afraid of that. Like this bottom part will be concealed. So you've marked the whole way across, and then you're going to do 10 centimeters up. So again, you do like a dot to the 10 centimeter point. Maybe mark this in 3 or 4 places. 10 centimeters. 10 centimeters. and 10 centimeters. And you can even draw a line across. Again, this won't be seen, so it'll help you cut it a bit straighter. I just did it slightly wonky there, but it's okay. You see that? You can see it quite fadedly. I can go across a slightly thicker marker. You can, if you want, draw your lines up like that if you're a bit of a perfectionist, but I think it's okay just to kind of freestyle it going straight up, to be honest. You can do that if you really want. You can do that if you want, but I think just go look at your wee dots and just go up to the point, you know, be confident with your scissors and your cutting. This is going to take a little minute, so I'm actually going to have a little musical interlude, maybe. Let me see while we're playing it, if I can. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed that musical interlude. And I hope also I hope I'm not rushing ahead for the next step. The next step is quite slow also. So is everyone okay? Let me just do a quick gallery view. Okay, great. Oh, look at everyone working away. This is great. I'm getting thumbs up. Thanks, Lorraine. I got a thumbs up there. I got a smile from Sonia. Francis working away. This is great. Oh, Mary, good woman. Great. Brilliant. Okay, good stuff. Great to see you haven't fallen asleep. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna start good woman, Siobhan. Siobhan has a very precious t-shirt, so she's been very careful with it. It's better to use a t-shirt that has no sentimental value for this, maybe. So the next step is to tie the front and back tassel, or I'm calling them tassel, I guess they're like a fringe together. So basically the one at the front, the one in the back, just tie, just like, it doesn't have to be a knot, just a tie. So does that make sense? Just a little tie. You see what I'm doing? Front and back and tie.
Shifa, are you tying two at a time, just that are next to one another, or
The one at the
plaiting
front,
three?
the one at the fringe at the front and the fringe at the back, tying them just like not even a knot, just a tie across. So I'm doing one at a time, but one at the front and one at the back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that are in line with one another.
That are like they're sandwiched on top of each other.
Yeah.
So this, as I said, it's going to take a bit of time as well. So I'm going to give you another little musical interlude. Okay, sorry for the abrupt end of the music. I am a professional enough to do a fade in. So how are we all getting on now? I hope I'm not going too fast. Let me just take a quick look at the gallery view and sort of lots of heads down working away. That looks great. Yes, I can see some. Lots of very concentration faces here. Delighted. Oh, this is great. Oh, very good. I can see Ben is working away there very well. And let me see, who's this? Maura. Yeah, that looks great. Nice color on that. That looks lovely. Brilliant. Okay, so make sure they're like nice and tight. As in you might have noticed me going back and kind of just giving them a wee tweak sort of as I was going along, just because this is going to be the base of your bag. I don't know if you're starting to kind of see. Oops. I don't know if you saw me kind of just tightening it up, but anyway, this is the base of your bag and this is the handles really. We're gonna turn it inside out. But the next step after you've done all your little ties is you'll notice there's like tiny little holes in the middle. So the way you're going to counteract that is that you're going to tie the knot next to itself. So it's basically going to be like see the way there's like a hole here. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to bail that off a bit closer. There's a hole here. I'm going to tie that. I'm going to tie the knot that's next adjacent to the knot. So you're essentially tying your knots together. So it's another tie. So you're just closing up that little hole. Does that make sense? So you're closing up the holes. Wherever you see a hole, just tie it closed again. You'll see them now when you look closely that there are more holes. So basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to make sure that nothing falls out of your bag. Yeah, lots of little holes, but once we turn it inside out, you'll notice where you've missed out, and then you can go turn it inside out again and finish up all those little holes. So is that good? Maybe I'll do another little musical interlude. I hope we're all Van Morrison fans. Otherwise, if you're not, you can just mute it. Okay, I'm back. I'm just having a wee look at the gallery view there, and there's lots of great work happening. Looks good. I just kind of went across there. Oh yeah, look at those. Good work, Siobhan. I just kind of went across and did a wee tighten it up. Like just sort of checked if there's any extra holes and then just did another knot on top of it. Like you don't have to be really prescriptive with this. You can be pretty like just sort of keep an eye where just look along, you know. Anything that a 5p could fall out of. Not that we even use cash anymore, but just keep an eye. Or a pen, actually. You wouldn't want a pen to fall out. So mine is looking okay. I'm just gonna see what everybody's up to. Yeah, looks good. Okay, maybe are we ready to turn inside out? Yeah? Okay, well, let's give it a go. Okay. So if you want to even grab the two corners to give yourself a nice clean turn inside out, like as if you're putting a bedspread on. Okay, so there we go. Got our little bag. So I can look here and I can see on mine there's a couple of little holes. There's a big hole. So what I suggest is you can just kind of even mark where that is, and then just like I spotted a hole here, so I'm going to look back in, and then yeah, there's a hole, and just knot it again. Just at that point. Yeah, but I'm pretty pleased with that one. I think that's good. I think it was a nice size. The other thing you want to check is, so I'm going to spotlight myself off. Remove spotlight, and I'm going to add my spotlight to myself. So what you want to check is depth. So that's looking a wee bit, I think that's a wee bit tight. But the problem is that when I remove that, then I cut into my logo. So the way to fix that is then just to literally go back in and to cut in slightly more here. So just try it on and see where you feel it needs slightly adjusted. And if you want to keep it for a longer time, if you have an overlocker, or if you know someone who has one, or even like a local seamstress or zip yard would definitely have an overlocker, you could bring it in and you could ask them to overlock the seams, and that'll just keep it. Or even the zigzag scissors is kind of like an old school way of keeping it from fraying, but it won't really fray, you know. And like, don't be putting a big bag of spuds in it, you know. It's more a fashion thing, okay, that you can be able to say you made yourself. But I think that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to look in gallery now, and I'm going to have a look at what everyone else did. Oh, look at that, Sandra. Well done. iPad at the top, rocking this day. Very good. Oh, look, I love that one. Eat, game, sleep, repeat, Ben. And Jean, great job. That's a nice logo with the circular. It's lovely. So have a wee nosy there at all your fellow participants, what they were getting up to. Very good, Siobhan. Oh, that's great. Love it. Brilliant. Orlando, lovely. Sonia. Great. Oh, I like that one, Maura. Epic dude. Very good. No, they're great. And I do think that they work particularly well with kids, like kids t-shirts. And then this is also a great activity to do with kids because it's so easy and there's no sewing required, and it's very, you know, it's quite relaxing, and you can play Van Morrison if you want while you're doing it too. So that's our tote bag element finished up. So I'm just going to show you some of my bags before we do our little Q&A, just so you understand what I'm talking about. Can everybody see me? Okay, yeah. So this is one of the bags, just so you can see it in real life. This is a new thing I've developed. These are little tassel key rings. And this is with my laser cutter friend. We laser cut the tassels and then made up the key rings. And this was for the photo shoot that we did on Sunday. So I'm really happy with those. This fanny bags are quite simple. I made them so that they're quite slimline and they don't really interfere with your clothes, and you can wear them without feeling like you got a big bag on. They hold all the essentials, your phone, keys, your mask, your hand sanitizer. This is the stash bag. So this was the purple tarp that I spoke about. So as you can see, this is beautiful. Like, this is very nice prints. So each and every bag is totally unique. It's kind of, if you, it's actually quite similar to secondhand clothing, as in no one is the same. So when I put these on my website, I have to photograph every single bag, and it means that once a bag is sold, it's gone. That's it. I can't repeat the photographs. I can't reuse it because each bag, due to the markings, is totally individual. So these are the stash bags. So the stash bags started off with a small handle, more like a toiletry bag. And then people started using them for swimming. So they asked me to add a strap. So I added this strap that can be adjusted. And now people use them for like cycling or swimming or whatever. This is a sneak peek at a new product. So this is the bag that I am very pleased with. So this is, again, the fringing. This is going to be part of the Dolly Parton collection. I'm calling this all my fringing. I'm a big country and western fan, and this has a long strap for cycling as well. And again, the strap is made from old airplane seatbelts, and the leather is from a chair factory in Dublin, so fully utilized. So again, it's got a long strap on it, and then as you can see, the leather on the strap as well, a nice little touch. So that's my new product. And here's another new product. This is the oversized tote. This is a very big tote. This would be for all your groceries. Again, Dolly Parton collection. And then lastly, this is the yoga bag. So this is the original bag that it all started with. Was the yoga bags. This is a very simple one. This is a white tarp that I got, and I love the white. I call this the Ghost collection, and it's just a very simple bag for carrying a yoga mat. This is the airplane seat belt on this part again. So have I any questions? We're in our Q&A time now. So if you've got any questions, you can just pop them in the chat box, or feel free to unmute yourself and just ask me. So yeah, if you've any questions, go ahead. Now's your chance. Oh, Valerie Cubbett raised a hand. Hello. I got somebody talking.
Hello.
Hello. I'll answer your question first, Nicola. how do you clean the materials for use? And that's a great question. So I bring them to an industrial washer in Belfast, and I took a long time to figure out how to wash them, to be honest. Like, we tried, I've got great pictures of me and my father brushing them and trying so hard to figure out how to clean the materials. They're so, when they come to me, they're at the end of their life, they're so dirty. They're you know, they're either coming to me because they're totally destroyed for use on the road, or else because it's a rebrand. And when they come to me for a rebrand, that's really exciting for me, because it means that they're in good condition and I won't have to worry, like I won't have to be working around big holes and lots of issues. So I get them washed with an industrial washer who specializes in washing hotel carpets, actually, and he washes them in collected rainwater. So he's got a whole area on his site where he collects rainwater, and then he uses that for the likes of my tarps. So it's really, it's eco, it's sustainable, it's really exciting, you know. And that was something that he had already in existence. Like, I didn't set up the rainwater part of it, so it was great. Question from Pauline. I'd love to recolor some of my clothes to use to make other products. How would you do that best? Thanks. So that all depends on what the material content is, Pauline. If the material content is natural, if it's linen, if it's cotton, you can use any sort of dye, and you'll see the Dylon dyes will say what they're for. But if the problem now is that so much of our clothes are synthetic materials, and in order to dye synthetic, you have to use chemical dye, and a chemical dye is much more tricky to work with. You have to be very careful about your temperature, and certain things will just go a crazy color. Like, I got this beautiful vintage dress, and I dyed it. I was wanting to dye it, like, I think it was like a navy, and whatever way the chemicals reacted, it came up a green. It was actually quite nice, but it's, you know, you just don't know really what's going to happen with the synthetic stuff. But I would recommend the Dylon dyes, and there are different ones for your materials, but the key thing is to check your material content. Do I need to bleach them first, your clothes? It depends on what effect you're wanting, and I would be a bit afraid to use bleach, to be honest, before dyeing anything, because the problem with bleaching things is that it doesn't, there's so many elements to a garment. You know, you might have a garment that's 100% cotton, but they might have used polyester thread within that, so that your thread's going to pop a different color whenever you dye it. So there's all these different things are happening. I would be very cautious about bleaching anything if you're not really, especially if it's something that you really like. If you're willing to risk it, yeah, go ahead. But I haven't bleached anything before dyeing it first. I normally would dye and go into use a dye that, like, for example, I have a friend in New York that has a business called Make It Black. And she for other people, she dyes everything black in huge big vats. And traditionally that would have been a thing here, you know, we would have had dyers in the community that would have dyed things, you know, which is mad to think. But yeah, like, if you're going lighter, it will be a bit risky. So I'm not too sure about bleaching. Even when it's dark color and you want it light. Yeah, I would be a wee bit risky about it, to be honest with you. I'm sure there's lots of research online that would be able to advise you a little bit better, but I have never dyed anything very bright that was already dark, unless I was doing like a tie-dye kind of thing. Have you any ideas on reusing wetsuit material? I've struggled to sew it, so tips appreciated. Yes, you're right. There's a girl in Wexford that has a whole business around recycling wetsuits, and she is called, what is her name? Oh, I can't think. I can't think of her name, but I can send it. If you want to message me directly on Instagram or email me, I can get you her name afterwards. But it's Neo, it's something Neo. But anyway, even if you Googled recycled wetsuits, Wexford, she would come up straight away. And you need a sewing machine like mine, really, to work with a material like that. You need a walking foot. Normal sewing machine, the foot just glides, but a walking foot like what I have here, as you can see, super industrial. the foot walks along, so it's for leather work and it's for materials that have a lot of friction, so the foot will just walk along. And for wetsuits and for tarp and everything, you need that kind of material. So for reusing the wetsuit material, that the Neo girl does really interesting work and makes like little bags. And have you tried using a zigzag stitch even on a domestic machine? A zigzag stitch might work. And also there are industrial glues that you would use for like repairing tents and stuff, that would be strong enough to glue edges of wetsuit material. She makes these little, like, she makes lots of things. I saw recently she made these like little beer holders, like what you'd see in the States, people use a lot. And she makes little things for carrying your iPhone, and she makes lots of little tiny things that I think you could probably, if you had an industrial glue like what they have for repairing tents, like any of that outdoor stuff, would definitely work. Any more questions? What is your email? My email is, I'll put it in here for everyone, shifra@jumpthehedges.com. Wetsuit repair glue, yes. The upcycle movement, thank you very much there. My technical assistant has it. Any more questions? If I've missed your question, please just resend it into the group. How to work with twisted seams when using cheap material. Oh yeah, I know, this is such a pain, isn't it? I have seen this in Zara and so many places, twisted seams on clothes. It's just absolutely shocking, isn't it? What I would suggest is, if you're trying to work with twisted seams, it depends what you want to do with it. You know, if you're wanting to just maybe, if you're wanting to, the ideal situation would be as if it was too big for you and you wanted to take it in, so you could just overlock it very quickly in. A double-sided sellotape is the most underused and under-talked about thing within clothing, I find. And I did an apprenticeship with some bag makers, and we used double-sided sellotape on everything. Like before laying down, especially for leather work, that's a really key element in leather work, is putting down your double-sided tape, your piece of leather, and then stitching it straight. So I would suggest for this kind of thing is double-sided tape, taping it in places, and then hopefully you can just peel the tape off. Most materials, the double-sided tape just comes off. And then you should be able to work a little bit more smoothly, depending on how kind of difficult the material is to work with on your sewing machine. But if the material is slipping and sliding all over the place, you can get a spray that you can put on your sewing machine to stop it from moving around and wiggling so much. And I think the spray is maybe more for kind of working with like latex, but it would do the same thing. I hope that's a good answer. Have any more questions? I'm enjoying these questions. I feel like Mary Berry of clothes. It's great though. I feel like I can imagine some people in this group know more about making clothes than I do. So I was very intrigued to know more about the participants. So,
Shifra,
yes,
it was me that asked about the twisted seams thing. So I'm trying to type, but I'm so slow at typing. It's not so much about the actual seam and holding it. It's whenever you're reusing stuff.
Yeah.
And you've got a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And the front's 4 inches bigger than the back.
Yeah.
Because it is twisted and stretched, and if there's a logo on the front that you want to use, but you can't line up the side seams.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's very difficult, but like I know that like see,
I feel I waste a lot of material when I'm trying to upcycle and reuse, because if I want to use the logo bit,
yes,
I have to retwist it, and then I usually just staple it in place to hold that.
That's what I mean. I think that we kind of have this very kind of old school approach where we feel we have to do everything like as if we're being like proper seamstresses, when in actual fact, like paper clips and all these sort of staple things are actually like really necessary. I use an awful lot. I have a whole box of clips.
Yeah, I was going to say, my hubby bought me these wonderful wee jobbies,
These here.
Aye, big ones like these wee.
Yes, the ones they're for putting in zips. They're great. Yes, exactly. But these
Dog
kind of things here, I got these in I think I got them in Boyd's in Uri, but Boyd's is basically like B&M bargains.
Oh, they're good. They're big ones, my ones.
And this was in the electrical
I was going to say that looks an electric.
Yeah,
Ah.
I use those for whenever, because my material is so stubborn and so thick. I use these for keeping everything together. And as I said, I've so many paper clips here, and
Yeah, the blow clips and.
But like I wouldn't feature.
Way to
Go ahead then.
Is there a way to reform that twist you get in cheap polycotton?
Well, not really, because the problem is that they have cut it wrong. So that's why it's
yeah.
Because whenever they were cutting it, they didn't have a proper cutting setup, and they might be cutting like maybe a couple of 100 t-shirts at the one time with a big knife, and they'll go around and it's might have twisted within that. So basically you're almost working with that on the bias. So
yeah, the twist's already in it then.
You know, there's nothing you can do about that, you know. So by you even trying to recycle or upcycle something, I think is amazing. So I wouldn't beat yourself.
I just have to suck it up and accept that I have to not use that bit.
I know, but you know, you're like those people, the girl Bethany Williams that I put up earlier, you know, she uses just elements, and I'd say she has so much waste, but at the same time she's still saving loads of stuff.
Yeah.
You know? So
I suppose that's it. I sort of sucked it up with doing the masks because I've done 7,500 out of recycled material.
God, listen. Fantastic, 7,500.
So, yeah.
You should be taking this workshop, not me. Oh my God.
No. I can do masks, great. I'm not saying anything else. But everybody around my wee town has been firing me in.
Where are you from? What's your wee town?
Portrush.
Oh, lucky you. Wow, what a lovely place to live. But that's brilliant. 7,500.
And my lovely hubby has put up with an entire landing full of boxes of cotton.
That's brilliant. Oh no, fair play to you. You know, that's great, honestly. I'm just saying, Mesh, there, would you do a mask workshop? I actually did do a mask workshop, and it was a no-sew mask workshop, so it was very simple. It just was like I did that for a company in Dublin. And it was very, very straightforward. But I haven't done a sewing mask workshop kind of thing. But there's a great woman in Belfast who does all different kinds of workshops. The costume something, I can't remember, but she does the online things on her Instagram and everything, talking about how to make your own mask. So she definitely would be worth checking out. But yeah, this is great to get to know my participants a bit better. And have I any other questions?
Well, I'm still unmuted, so I'm going to just say, how do we access more info about you, about patterns, ideas, projects?
Jump the hedges.
Because I'm just totally wanted everything's reusable in our house. We don't do.
That's amazing. Oh, I'm delighted to hear that.
And I would love to ultimately set up a tiny sideline business of doing festival clothes.
Oh wow, amazing. Well, I can put you in all the right directions for that.
You know, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, there's a girl in Dublin called Attention Attire, and she makes like festival clothes from old tents, and she works very closely with all the festivals, and they donate the tents to her, because it's a big issue with the festivals, people just leaving their tent behind.
Oh, brilliant. I'll have to keep her in mind for festivals here, for a way to send the tents that are left.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she's brilliant, and she does lots of quite wee simple things, and I don't think she has industrial equipment. I think she uses domestic sewing machines, and it's all like ripstop material, so she just would like zigzag a lot of it. But yeah, there's like amazing opportunities with waste material, and this is the thing, is that everybody talks about recycled material, as in, like, I'm sure you see advertised, oh, this pair of leggings was made from 30 plastic bottles, like the recycled yarns. But the most exciting thing is actually the material that's here in front of us, you know, and that's much more important to use, really.
Saffron, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead, Valerie.
Valerie, I'm trying to type a message and I can't get it typed. How do you
Go
do
ahead,
it?
I'd
That's a
rather
stupid
keep it
question,
talking.
but
This is better crack. Go ahead, Valerie.
I can't get a message typed.
What's your message? Do you want to tell me, or I can talk to you afterwards? But if you're happy to talk in front of the group, go ahead.
No, I just would like to know how to add a wee message, like well done and that.
Oh.
And I can't.
You just type it in and then press enter, and it should come up. Give it a go there.
No, it's not going.
Is it not? Oh, I'm sorry about that. There's always problems with this old Zoom.
But I've something done in settings with it. Sorry.
Don't worry.
There's a bit at the bottom which says chat, and if you click on that, the chat box will come up and you can
But I
type into
can't
there.
see it.
Oh,
Is that Niall? Niall, I can't see that.
It should be along the bottom.
it's the third one in, so it says security, participants, and then chat.
Participants
Sandra.
share content.
Oh no, it should just say chat. It's like a wee speech bubble box.
Oh, I saw that, but I can't see it.
Oh, I'm sorry about
Chat
that.
there.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then just tap here to chat. Oh yeah, wait and see if I get it.
Great. Have I any more questions?
Must be now.
Sorry, I'm going to ask another question.
Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
feel I'm the only one sort of talking, but I'm so into this thing, and
Good.
this is amazing for me. Obviously, you're recording boxes, or are you going to share the recording of it?
Yes, yeah, we can
Yes.
share the recording. I think that was. Go ahead, Siobhan.
We can share. Sorry, I'm Siobhan. This email addresses, so I'll be able to share that after the event, obviously tomorrow or the next day, and then it'll also be on the council websites, Antrim and Newtonabbey and Mid and East Antrim.
You see, obviously, I'm not on
You're
any
a
of
court steward,
them.
unfortunately. Yes, that's fine. You know, don't worry, but
And
we'll make sure we
will-
get that to you.
Will the
What's
chat
your
be on
name?
that?
Sorry,
Because there was a website that one of the other tech people put up. Will the chat stuff?
I'll maybe have to ask Niall that.
Because if not, I can run back up to it and take a photo of it, just to get that website back again.
Yes, I know what you
Oh
mean.
yeah, no, I can, or you can email me if there's any more questions you have. If the most important thing for you to take down is my email address, and then send me through whatever questions you have, and I can get back
What's
to you.
what's your
on
email?
My email is SIOF
Mhm,
SIOFRA
mhm.
at jumpthehedges.com.
At Jump the Hedges.
And you can find me on Instagram or Facebook. And I don't use my Facebook as much, but I do respond to the messages, maybe just a bit slower than Instagram, but I'm on Instagram all the time.
I don't use either of
just-
them.
you're
I
just
don't use
right.
Insta at all, and Facebook very little. So email good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you found us. I'm glad you found the event.
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
it's brilliant.
Brilliant. That's great. So have I any more final questions?
I'm going to say thank you and then mute myself and go away because I've blathered for everybody.
Oh, I'm delighted you did. It's important that we have somebody blather, and I'm delighted.
I asked in the chat if you were going to do any more.
I would love to do more. So hopefully the councils would have me back to do more. That'd be great.
Yes, hopefully if we can get a few more pounds from people, we definitely.
Email the council and request that I come back, but I would definitely be up for
No,
more.
I think this is the idea. I work for Keep Northern Ireland Beautiful and sort of started the campaign around Fashion Forever to encourage people to reuse, repair and reimagine their clothing, and working with Schieffer has just been a pleasure because obviously this is what we're doing. We're reimagining an old t-shirt which I adored but couldn't throw it out, but it was totally sort of too big and whatever. So this idea of of doing something with clothes we already have in our wardrobe, falling back in love with them is just really, really great, because we throw so much away now and we're sort of programmed almost to be buying constantly. So the idea of this campaign is to really help people just rethink how they go about buying stuff and how they sort of live our lives, because I think we have to change, you know, in some way or other. And so I hope that there will be more events like this, and you know, we'll certainly be promoting them through the councils, because they've been a great support and a great way to reach people like yourselves, and hopefully you spread the message as well.
Yes.
And encourage your friends and family. Now, on Keep Northern Ireland Beautiful, we do lots of things, from tackling plastic to litter, to this activity here, the whole textile. So it's another good website, which I'll stick their website up here as well, just so that you have access to that as well, and you'll be able to find a little bit more about Fashion Forever on that. But it's been lovely to be part of this evening, and thank you all very much. And I'm so glad you didn't forgo us for the football.
Exactly. I just see Jane put up a great idea. I use old pillowcases to make the tote bag and then gift them. That's very
Lovely.
clever, you know, because everybody has old pillowcases that are maybe very worn, you know, so and that probably would be maybe even better material than a t-shirt, because there'll be no stretch in it. And that's the thing about the t-shirt, and you have to remember is that when you put something in it, it'll get bigger, you know, it'll just increase in size. So an old pillowcase would actually be brilliant to use, you know. So
it makes a really good size tote bag as well.
yeah, you're right, it's quite long then, isn't it? It's nearly like a laptop size bag.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Very, very good idea. Have we a final question before we close up for the night? Don't be shy if anybody has it and they want to ask. And if you are shy, you're more than welcome to email me at shifra@jumpthehedges.com and I'll get back to you. But yeah, and then keep an eye on the Keep Northern Ireland Beautiful website too, and it has lots of really interesting information. Okay, well, I think that's us then. I think maybe we'll close up. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for attending, and thank you very much, Siobhan, for bringing me on and having me involved. I've really enjoyed it. This has been a lovely evening. It's lovely to see everyone's faces, and I felt like I was in a workshop, a proper, like in real life workshops. It's great, and a huge thank you to Niall for all the technical support. He was very good at it. And one last question. What's your favorite thing that I made from all my bags? This one here. This is my favorite bag, my Dolly Parton bag.
And it's beautiful.
Thank you very much.
We should have had a wee bit of 9 to 5 when we were instead of all Van Morrison. You should have had a wee bit of.
No, you said this the Dolly collection. Yeah, I know. But thank you so much. I really enjoyed this. So I'm going to end the meeting now for everyone. And as I said,
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And Mike, any questions? Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye, Shifra. Bye, everybody.